In our series on the literary devices of Proverbs, this section focuses on parallelism and its main types. Parallelism is the most striking feature of Hebrew Proverbs, but it is also found, although less frequently, in other texts from the ancient Near East. Parallelism is a dynamic connection between two lines of a saying. In this section on parallelism, the proverbs are presented visually in a slightly different way in order to identify the cola and the items of each colon better and to illustrate the relationships between the parts of the sentence more clearly. Literary devices associated with parallelism. Synonymous parallelism. In this type, each line of the proverb is a complete utterance and can stand on its own. But the special feature is that the two lines express the same idea using similar, yet different, words. However, a new aspect may also be introduced. Line 1, he said, "Whoa," and the boat sank with him. Line 2, he said, "Alas," and the rudder broke. Sumerian Proverb Collection 3:179. A plus B represent different parts of the sentence. In this example, we can see that their equivalents, A2 plus B2, are arranged in the same position in both lines and also correspond in terms of content. So the structure of this proverb is parallel and the content is synonymous. Synonymous parallelism. Other examples. O my son, be content with thy daily bread and thy goods, and covet not what is another's. Ahikar 18. The address is placed in brackets to draw attention to the content. To be partial to the faces of the wicked is not good, nor to deprive the innocent of justice. Proverbs 18 verse 5. A scribe without a hand. A singer without a throat. Sumerian Proverb Collection 2:43. The hoe cannot cut firewood. The pitchfork cannot cut firewood. Sumerian Proverb Collection 2:139. Synthetic or progressive parallelism. In synthetic parallelism, no line can stand alone. Both form a unit, with the second line continuing or intensifying the idea of the first line. Line 1. Listen to counsel and receive instruction. Line 2. That you may be wise in your latter end. Proverbs 19 verse 20. We can also see a structure in this example that is parallel in a certain way. However, A plus B in the second line do not have a counterpart, but rather a consequence consisting of the parts C plus D. Thus, the structure of this proverb is also parallel, but synthetic/progressive in terms of content. Synthetic parallelism. Other examples. Do not let yourself be sent on a wicked errand, nor be friends with him who does it. Amenemap 64-65. Go not in and out of the town council, so that thy name may not stink. Ani 9. Stay away from a foolish man, for you won't find knowledge on his lips. Proverbs 14 verse 7. You should not travel during the night. It can hide both good and evil. Shurapag 47. You may lift it all together, but you will put it down in pieces. Sumerian Proverb Collection 3:117. Antithetic parallelism. In antithetical parallelism, the second line presents a direct contrast, a counterpart to the first line. Often, the respective consequences of an action or attitude are also mentioned in order to warn against the worse alternative and encourage the better one. Line 1. A simple man believes everything. Line 2. But the prudent man carefully considers his ways. Proverbs 14 verse 15. In this example, we see a structure that is parallel in both lines. The corresponding parts, A1 plus A2, B1 plus B2, are in the same position in their respective lines. However, the respective counterpart in the other line is exactly the opposite in terms of content, which is indicated by the conjunction but. Therefore, antithetical parallelism. Other examples. O my son, make a friend of the man whose hand is satisfied and filled, and make no friend of the man whose hand is closed and hungry. Ahikar 66. He who covers an offense promotes love, but he who repeats a matter separates best friends. Proverbs 17 verse 9. You don't speak of that which you have found. You talk only about what you have lost. Sumerian Proverb Collection 111. A loving heart maintains a family, a hateful heart destroys a family. Shurapag 202-203. Chiastic parallelism. Chiasm, Greek for cross, is a special form of parallelism in which the parts of a sentence are arranged in a crosswise pattern. The elements of the line 1 are arranged in reverse order of the elements of line 2. 1. The mouth of the righteous is a spring of life. 2. But violence covers the mouth of the wicked. Proverbs 10 verse 11. In this example, we see a structure that is parallel in both lines, but in a new way. The elements A in both lines represent a starting point, the mouth, the way of speaking. The elements B represent their consequence. What is new about this parallelism is that the elements A plus B in line 2 are reversed in order compared to line 1. This gives us two consequences of ways of speaking, B, in succession in the middle of the saying, end of line 1 and beginning of line 2. This is framed by the respective starting point, A, the mouth, at the beginning of line 1 and at the end of line 2. Thus, we have a chiastic parallelism here. In terms of content, the two lines of chiastic parallelism can be both synonymous and antithetical to each other. In this case, it is antithetic, a righteous and a wicked mouth with the corresponding consequences. Other examples. A fool, premise, despises his father's correction, conclusion, but he who heeds reproof, conclusion, shows prudence, premise. Proverbs 15 verse 5 note, being wise or foolish can be the cause of the corresponding attitude toward rebuke, but it can also be the result, as character tends to reinforce itself according to its tendencies. Folly is joy, conclusion, to one who is void of wisdom, premise, but a man of understanding, premise, keeps his way straight, conclusion. Proverbs 15 verse 21. Yahweh detests conclusion, the thoughts of the wicked, premise, but the thoughts of the pure, premise, are pleasing, conclusion. Proverbs 15 verse 26. Incomplete parallelism. Some proverbs play with their parallel structure and simply leave out a part. This requires you to ponder a little more both about the structure and the content in order to fill in the omitted element. The parallel structure with its visible relations of the clauses and lines to each other is the ideal prerequisite for such reflection because it allows to identify omitted sections. Such omissions may even occur in both lines, not just in one. Ellipsis. Leaving out a noun or verb. In ellipsis, a verb or noun is omitted, and this can even happen in both lines of the proverb. Ellipsis is not limited to parallel structures, but in this case it is easier to identify. The reader must imagine the elements in square brackets to complete the picture. Line 1. Let another man praise you, and not your own mouth. Line 2. Let a stranger praise you, and not your own lips. Proverbs 27 verse 2. In this example, the second line omits the praise of the stranger at the beginning. Other examples. O my son, covet not outward beauty, for it wanes and passes away, but covet an honorable remembrance, for it lasts for aye. Ahikar 7. O my son, withstand not a man in the days of his power, nor withstand a river in the days of its flood. Ahikar 62. With his mouth, that lacks knowledge, the godless man destroys his neighbor, but the righteous will be delivered through words of knowledge. Proverbs 11 verse 9. Unbalanced parallelism. Leaving out a complete premise or conclusion. Unbalanced parallelism occurs when a complete premise or conclusion is omitted, creating a misfit or rhetorical gap between two clauses. The reader must imagine the elements in square brackets to complete the picture. 1. One finds no rest in a house in which a wife does not speak. 2. One finds no rest in a house in which the head of the household does not utter joyous words. Sumerian Proverb Collection 2:146. In this example, two conditions, the woman's silence and the man's unpleasant speech, would follow each other in a rather detached manner. Bringing over the consequence from line 1, one finds no rest in a house, makes the whole thing more complete and ensures that the proverb no longer limps. Other examples. Longing fulfilled through a righteous life is sweet to the soul, but fools detest turning from evil and therefore don't achieve what they long for. Proverbs 13 verse 19. The righteous are concerned about knowledge and care about justice for the poor. The wicked aren't concerned about knowledge and don't care about justice for the poor. Proverbs 29 verse 7. A. Righteous desire fulfilled is sweet to the soul, but to turn away from evil desire is an abomination to fools. Proverbs 13 verse 19.